Welcome to the 18 Pro Squad, Justin. We're with Justin Lippert, and we're super excited to have you with us for A Squared. So tell us a bit about yourself and your journey to triathlon.
Oh boy, a bit about myself. Well, my name's Justin. I'm 25 years old. My journey into triathlon, I've talked about this a lot. I've been on a few podcasts and what, so I'll give you the skinny. I didn't grow up doing triathlon. I never swam until I was in college. And even that was just, I was a runner. I ran in high school. I ran at Clemson University, never rode a bike, never swam. And then as part of the cross country team at Clemson, like once a week, we just hop in the pool, do some cross training, nothing crazy, just to get off the legs for a day. And then I had a few friends who were on the cross country team with me, and they ended up leaving the team, and they kind of got into triathlon. And one of these friends was Jack Felix, who, I don't know if you know Jack Felix, but he went on to be a pro triathlete, had a great career. He went to Queen's University, competed with them. So I'm watching these guys run around like nutcases, swimming and biking. So that's kind of how I got into the sport. I ended up leaving the track and cross country team at Clemson and kind of getting involved in triathlon that way. So, late bloomer, wasn't one of those kids who grew up swimming and biking their entire life. Picked it up in my early 20s, I guess you could say.
Late bloomer coming from a 25-year-old. I'm going to have an objection to that, but okay.
Well, you see there's a ton of these pro triathletes, especially the ITU guys. They've been swimming in the pool since before they could even walk. So it's, from that aspect, it seems like a late bloomer.
Yeah, I think we'll see more of those kids coming up who've done triathlon from a young age for sure. But before you went pro, you made a name for yourself in 2018 with winning the age group national championships in Cleveland. I was there for both. I didn't see you win both the sprint and the Olympic distances because I was out on a course somewhere, but you were definitely made a splash. And you followed up those two wins with winning the Miami Men 70.3 long course championships. And you did it all while wearing a speedo. So you got to tell us a bit about what's going on. In 2018, 2019, there was magazine covers. I saw social media takeovers, and again, all while wearing a watermelon speedo. So tell us about what was going on there, Justin.
Yeah, it kind of caught on like wildfire, I guess you could say, because it was different. It wasn't something that people were used to seeing. People maybe have seen other people race in speedos at their local triathlon, this, that, or other thing. But no one had done it on such a big stage. I didn't invent racing in the speedo. It was my friends really who were already doing it. And I was like, yeah, like I'll race in a speedo. Like, why not? It's fun, right? It's fun. It's different. It's cool. Heat dissipates better. So, I figure that's what I tell myself at least. Slight advantage. But yeah, so it was the first time anyone had, I guess, really been on the national stage like that, winning a race in a speedo. It was the first time a lot of people seen that. So they were like, wow, look at this kid. That's crazy. So it kind of led to a lot of, magazine covers, USAT kind of liked it on social media. They're like, who is this kid winning everything in a speedo? So yeah, definitely kind of helped get the name out there for sure. And kind of make me into something maybe bigger than I was. But yeah, it was a good time. Crazy couple of years.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it watching it from the outside, and you're certainly doing vintage triathlon, right? Maybe that's why everyone got into it in the 90s, because we had all these dudes running around in speedos.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually during that time as well, you founded Full Send Tri. So tell us about Full Send.
Yeah, so that was actually, coming out of that same weekend where I went back to back. So after I won the Olympic distance national championship, that was that first race on Saturday. In the post-race interview, they were like, hey, like what was the plan? What'd you do out there? How did you make it happen? And I just spit the truth. I just said what was on my mind and what was actually going through my mind during the race. So I had a couple bad races earlier in the year where I just felt like I didn't get enough out of myself. Like I could have pushed so much harder. So in training, I just kept telling myself during workouts, I was like, dude, just like forget about everything. Just like full send, man. Like you got to be going all out, max effort all the time. Like I went to Cleveland. That's where the race was. I wasn't there to like try and get a top 5. I wasn't there to try and get a top 10. Like I was going there to either win or not win. Those were the only 2 outcomes. And that's kind of like that full send mindset that I have. So I was in that race. I'm just saying, I'm going all out 100%. Like, I don't care if I absolutely bonk. We are just going for it. We're going for the win and nothing else. So like, I kind of said that in the post-race interview, and I was like, I was just trying to go full send this, full send that. And again, all these boomers that are out there in the triathlon world, I guess had never heard that before. So they thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Oh my God. So you started full send try after the sort of an unintentional branding exercise you did with the media attention?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I forgot. I kind of got off track there. Yeah. So then I took that, since that kind of full send thing exploded, I said, well, hey, like, let's get people together. And a big thing about full send triathlon, and I guess a whole big reason behind it and what we try to do is just connect athletes together, because in the grand scheme of things, the triathlon community is extremely small. Like, think of your town, think of your county. Like, how many triathletes are actually there? Like, it's not a lot. And then once you get into like higher level triathlon, these, people who are competing at Kona, competing at 70.3 Worlds, competing for wins at their, national age group national championships, it's few and far between. So people are kind of always longing for that connection, to be involved in a community with other, like-minded people. So that's just something that, we're able to provide with full send. And so I saw the opportunity arise, after that weekend there, after that whole hubbub that happened. So I kind of seized the opportunity and decided to create something, and that was Full Send Triathlon.
Nice. So how big is your team right now?
I think 137.
Wow. That's awesome. I know you have like an elite team and then,
Yeah,
everybody
so we
else.
have a handful of really, really solid athletes, handful of pros, licensed pros who are on the team, and then a few who are, soon to be pros. Like, they are knocking right on the door. So, and we've already had the past couple of years, we've had a few athletes who have earned their pro card while being on our team, and that's what we love to see. So we'll certainly be seeing more of that in the years to come as well.
Nice. We'll be looking out for that full send logo and the watermelon colors as well, which you brought over into your
Yeah.
branding. So riding high in 2018, killing it at short course and long course, and starting a team. And in 2019, we're rolling into defending your Olympic distance title at age group nationals and your first trip to Kona. So do you want to tell us a bit about 2019 and that trip to Kona?
Yeah, I mean, that trip to Kona was obvious. I mean, it was amazing. If anyone watching this has been to Kona, you already know. If you haven't been to Kona and you're watching this, I'm assuming you're a triathlete and you got to get yourself to Kona. If you can get there, it's an experience. I'll tell you, especially if you can race. Even if you can't race and just go and watch, it's an experience. But if you're racing, as I found out, it is quite the experience. Yeah, so I qualified in Ironman UK. So I actually hopped the pond to do my qualifying race and had a decent race. I mean, for being my first Ironman, looking back on it, not too disappointed in it. I got 4th place overall. I had the fastest run split of the day, punched my ticket to Kona. So we kind of got in, did our business, and got out. And then when I get to Kona, a lot of people kind of know what happened. A lot of people were kind of following me and saw that Ironman tracking app stop updating at around the 13-mile mark on the run, because I had extreme pain in my gluteal region, on actually both sides, more my left side. So I ended up just having to walk it in, really. I mean, walk. I would jog a little bit here and there, walk, and It was definitely a very humbling experience. I've never experienced anything like that before, where I had to, basically pull the plug on a race, and get passed by millions of what felt like millions of people, and just had a really long walk home on the Queen K. I knew I had to finish the race, obviously, for two reasons. Reason one is it's Kona. You got to respect the course. You got to respect the race. Everyone who's been there, I mean, Jan Frodeno had the same thing happen. And a couple of years back, he hurt his back and he had to walk it in, basically. So I figured I had to pay respect to that. Other reason being, if you've ever been to Kona, you basically run straight out and straight back. And I didn't know how I was going to get back if I didn't get on my own two legs, because there wasn't really any way to call like someone to come pick you up. So I had to finish the race. Took a lot longer than I expected. And what ended up happening, I essentially kind of tore my proximal hamstring tendon. And I'm honestly still kind of recovering from that. It was a long whole thing. I don't know if we want to get into that or not, but essentially I had to have surgery. They had to remove my ischial bursa from that region. This was after a whole year of trying to rehab it. So I'm still, that race was in 2019. Now it's 2021. And I'm literally just starting back running like a month and a half ago. So it's been a long road to recovery since that race.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And so, yeah, tell us a bit about your recovery, how you, if you're willing to share with us, how you deal with that mentally, like having that much of a spotlight on you, and then having a race that you didn't want at Kona, and then your first year as a pro being the COVID year. So you're dealing with, it might be a blessing in some ways because it gives you more time to recover, but there's a few things going on, especially with the big lead up 2018 and 2019 to a season of nothing. So how have you dealt with that?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, what was supposed to happen was I was supposed to race Kona and ideally win my age group. That was obviously the goal. Would that have happened without the injury? Who's to say? I mean, it's not, there are other great athletes there. It would have taken a great performance for me to win the age group, but that's the ideal, right? That's the ideal vision you have. And then we were supposed to roll right into the 2020 season and come out firing as a pro and do as well as we can in the pro field and make a splash while everyone's got the name recognition going on already. So it really, having that injury happen, and then on top of that COVID, it's really like just throwing a nice wet towel right on the fire and just simmering everything down. So I feel like I've kind of lost all momentum as a triathlete. But yeah, having COVID, the year COVID, 2020, I guess that was, with my injury going on. I mean, I guess it's a blessing. You could say it's a blessing because I didn't really miss anything, right? I was out the whole year. But at the same time, COVID or not, and any athletes out there who have dealt with such a nagging, prolonged injury, like I did, know the feeling. It breaks you down. Like it's doctor visit after doctor visit, seeing this guy, seeing that guy, like what's wrong with me? Try this, try that. It still hurts. Like, let's try these injections. Okay, it still hurts. Like, all right, now we need to have surgery. And you're like, okay, like let's do the surgery. But now at this point, it's been a year since the race. Like I was out of commission. I didn't run for literally a year. It was a year after that race that I got that surgery done. So you can just imagine, all I want to do is train. All I want to do is get back to that fitness level that I had. I want to get to new fitness levels that I've never had, but I couldn't train. So it, really kind of beat me down that year of 2020. And then thankfully I was able to have the surgery. It was successful. That was back last fall. So now we are in March 2021. It's been maybe 6 months from the surgery. I had obviously, you got to take a few months to recover from the surgery, let everything heal back in all good and nice. And then it was literally, I don't know the exact date, but maybe a month and a half ago, I've started actually running, not doing any walk, jog type things or anything, but actually going out and running for 30 minutes straight, 40 minutes straight. I've done an hour straight last week I did my first little tempo run, which felt so good to be able to pick up the pace a little bit. So, definitely took a lot of mental fortitude to get through that time period there. And still, I'm in no shape to race anytime soon. I mean, people are always asking me what races you got on the schedule. I'm not really thinking about that at this moment right now.
Well, yeah, that was one of our questions. So we don't have a race schedule for 2021. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So I guess my thoughts are, I mean, I'm in no shape to race in the against the professionals. I mean, those guys who have all been training through 2020 while I was on the sidelines through 2020. I'm just coming back after not having run for a year. So my thoughts are kind of end of the year. I know Ironman, they don't have any races on the pro schedule after August, I think. So I'm just gonna keep waiting because that's around the timeline that I want to probably get back into it. I figure 6 months from now I should at least be in some good enough shape to toe the line. Maybe not the best shape, but good enough, right? Full send.
There you go.
We'll see. We'll see and see if they keep updating the race calendar as more races get added. I know typically there's like Ironman 70.3 Waco at the end of the year. There's there's that one out in California, I think it is. So there's a few options that hopefully they'll be available that I'll be able to get to. Then before then, of course, May, June, July, if there's any local, little sprints, yeah, of course I'll jump in those and get the feet wet again. Those are always fun. Support local.
Exactly. I look forward to local races as well if they can go ahead. So you haven't had a chance to really race your Speed Freak, but you have been on it for a year. Do you want to tell us about your experience with the Speed Freak?
Yeah, no, Speed Freak has been great ever since that first ride. It's been a great bike. I mean, I've ridden not every bike under the sun, but I'm usually one who just buys used bikes on Craigslist, and once you get tired of it, you sell it and get a new used bike from Craigslist for a good deal. So I've had my fair share of bikes, and I fit on the A squared, the Speed Freak, just fine. Had a little Di2 action on there, so electronic shifting always makes any bike feel like it's a luxurious bike. Super stiff. That's what I remember from that first ride. I just remember the stiffness and the power transfer that went in was awesome, and it rolls great.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit about there's different types of triathletes. You have your your middle-aged ones, higher income, and then you've got your student triathletes like you were, and you're talking about how you have to buy used ones off of Craigslist, which I mean, I've been there as well. I totally feel that. So how do you think the Speed Freak fits in with that more price conscious triathlete out there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's definitely a great option. I mean, obviously you're never going to beat the price of getting like a really cheap used bike on Craigslist that's 5, 6, 7 years old. You can find those really cheap. Like, you're never going to be able to buy something new that's that cheap. But for a lot of people, especially if you're new, like let's say a college kid who's just picking up the sport and they know nothing about bikes, you're going to get maybe the wrong size. You're going to have something that's broken. You're not going to know how to fix it. So this, what's so great about A squared is such a reasonable price buying new. So you can say, okay, I can pay a little bit more, get something new. I know everything's going to be fresh. Everything's going to be working. I'm going to have this company that's, going to back it, right? They're going to say, right, if this thing cracks in half, obviously that's on us. That shouldn't be happening. Not that that's going to happen. I'm just throwing out wild example there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then going up, it's the great thing about that I love about the Speed Freak, and I've done with mine, is it's so customizable. It doesn't have any like proprietary, this one piece that we make will fit right here, and it costs $500 if you want to replace it. Like, there's none of that. You can easily swap out the group set. Obviously, swapping out the wheels is always easy. Brakes, shifters, handlebars, anything you want can be swapped out. So it's definitely a bike that can grow with you. And you can say, okay, I'm going to invest in the base model right now. And then, next year I'm going to upgrade, the group set. And then maybe I want to throw on some race wheels, and then I want to upgrade the handlebars. And by the time 3-4 years go down the road, now you've got a completely pro looking setup, just like mine. You could check pictures of mine on my Instagram. It's absolutely unreal. So, whether you are that just getting into the sport, just need something to get the job done, or you are like myself, like the others on the A Squared Pro team, you need something that is good, just as good as anything else out in the pro field. A Squared's got your back.
Yeah, I really look forward to, once racing is more regular, seeing our pros out there racing the Speed Freak. That's super fun. So yeah, you mentioned your bike is on your social media, and we always get a ton of likes when we show off your bike on our social media as well. So tell us how we follow you.
I'm on Instagram. You could just search me, Justin Lippert. I should pop up. I'm at Justin_Lippert. Should be pretty easy to find, hopefully. I think I have a Twitter account, but I don't go on Twitter. So don't bother trying to follow me on Twitter. And then if you want to keep up with my workouts, everything I do is on Strava. So you can just go to my Strava, just search me, Justin Lippert. You should find me. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers on Strava. I'm really close. I would love, I don't know why.
I already follow you on Strava, so we'll have to tell someone else to follow.
Yeah, I want to get to 1,000. It's completely arbitrary and doesn't mean anything. But I think it would just be cool to have that many people following me on Strava.
Yeah, I do enjoy watching my Charleston peeps ride those long rides with like 2 feet of elevation gain.
Yeah,
you guys got to get up to the mountains.
Ride. I can ride 4 or 5 hours, and unless you go over a bridge, there's no elevation at all.
Yeah, you got to get up into the mountains or into the hills somewhere, but it's good. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you chatting with us, Justin. We will definitely be keeping an eye out to see what you're getting up to, whether that's local tries or whether something comes along, and definitely keep us in the loop so we can follow you. And we'll be sure to follow you on Instagram and Strava. Everyone needs to follow you on Strava. So thanks for being with us, Justin.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.